We've walked through sunshine, we stood in rain. We've danced in joy and we've wept through pain. Through every valley, through every climb, a love eternal stands the test of time. Faith, fun, and forever love, built on grace sent from above. Through storms that shake, through skies that clear, His hand has held us year by year.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, what's up with y'all? We are back again on another Marriage Mondays. This is week number 3 of February. February is blowing.
Broken Spanish.
My broken Spanish. February is blowing by. It seems quick. We're at week number 3 already. You know, it's only 28 days in the month anyway.
Right.
So it ain't like we got much left to go, right? But we're in week number 3, and we hope that you had a wonderful Valentine's Day weekend. Ours was full. It was chock full of stuff.
It was full. We had a wedding. We had Valentine's Day.
Valentine's, church.
Yeah.
Birthdays.
What?
Birthdays again. Another birthday celebration.
Yeah.
After that. So we thank God that we were able to make it through the weekend with at least 15 cents left in my pocket.
Whatever. Do not believe him. I did not.
At least
I did not blow
I
the
think
wire.
I think I got 15 cents left. I believe so.
Not yet.
I believe so.
Not yet.
So but hey,
it's coming.
It's back, and whether you spent the time in a whirlwind like we did, or you spent some quiet time
It was a
together.
good whirlwind, though.
It was, it was all right. It was cool. I mean, but I like less noise.
I would agree.
Maybe it's because the environments I'm in. I don't know, but I like quiet time. I like
my Rosa Parks for Black History Month.
Yeah, I see you rocking Rosa today.
Yeah.
I like the quiet time. I like us being together. We don't need a big group of people. I mean, I don't mind that. I'm a pastor, so obviously I don't mind that. But when I have opportunity to choose my time, I'm going to always choose quieter moments.
I agree.
Just me, right? But hey, weekend is over, and we're back to real life. We're back into another Marriage Encounters, and this week we are talking about some of y'all can't even say it. Commitment, ladies and gentlemen.
That you were having a problem with your belly.
Some people can't even get the word out, right? Commitment, but not only being committed, but being present and being in the moment.
Yeah, when we think about commitment, we think about, with Valentine's Day just coming, all the cards and all the things are about, are you committed? And it's interesting how many people, statistically, a lot of people break up right before Valentine's Day because they don't want to have to get people stuff.
Really?
Yeah. Statistically, the beginning, right at the beginning of February, right before Valentine's Day, because people don't want the pressure of having to, get a ring or any of those kinds of things.
So another way to say that is statistically, there's a lot of stupid people.
I wouldn't say that. I would just say there's lots of people that don't want to be committed, and they utilize right before Valentine's Day as a way to disconnect.
Well, I can kind of understand. I somewhat understand and not sympathize, but empathize, two different words, with the pressure of that, because, you're trying to find your significant other something that they'll enjoy. And then you got people who are posting 1,000 things on social media of what they did and all this stuff. And it seems like you begin to try and have to top somebody else, which does put undue pressure on you, especially if your finances are challenged or whatever. But you know what?
But here's the thing. I think, honestly, if you're in a relationship, a real relationship, not, not an Instagram relationship. If you're in a real relationship, I think, like, for me, and I can't speak for every woman, but I think if your spouse, your significant other, maybe they don't necessarily have all the money in the world, but if they take the time to really do something that is thoughtful, that is intentional, that is thought out, it doesn't necessarily have to be big. It just needs to be sincere.
Mhm. Yeah.
And
Oh,
so I
agree.
think sometimes we buy into the commercialism of it, and we think we have to go out and spend a lot of money when, just like what you just said, hey, I would just as soon be at home. So how do you, I mean, when we first got married, we didn't have any money. We made a beach in our front, in our in our living
In the
room.
living room,
You
on
know,
a
I mean,
tarp with some sand in front
right.
of the
I mean,
fireplace, literally.
so I think, sometimes we put pressure on ourselves that is unnecessary because we could do things that are intentional and purposeful and thoughtful that may not necessarily cost us a lot of money.
That's a good point. That's a good point. I think we ended yesterday. Well, took the family out to dinner. I mean, our immediate family, us and our two kids, grown kids anyway. We had someplace, one other person, but basically the family, and just had good conversation, enjoying each other's company. And I promise you this, you might not be there yet, but the more years around the sun you go, the more those conversations and just laughing and having fun times together will begin to mount, and they'll become even more critical. And that'll be what you really strive for.
Well,
Because
I think when you've had parents or significant others that have passed away, you realize that there are moments that you missed.
right, they're
And so
fleeting moments.
and so there's things that you now intentionally do to make sure that you have moments and that you have connectivity and that you have times when yeah, maybe everything doesn't go exactly like you would want it to go, but you're intentional about how you try to pull those things together. And so,
Right.
when we start to look at it, commitment happens lots of ways. There's that piece of paper that says we're committed, that marriage license that says we're committed. There's the titles of husband, of wife, or Mr. and Mrs. that make us committed. There's that history that we have together that we've stuck through, for better or worse, or richer or poorer, sickness and health, till all of those things have come about.
Mhm.
But emotional commitment is a little bit different. Am I going to be the person that is with you? Am I stuck with you, not in a bad way, but stuck with you in a way that you and I can't be broken apart by foolishness?
That is key. That is so critical, and that is heavy for me. I mean, are we connected and committed to our relationship? Because emotional commitment is not about just giving money or doing this or whatever. Emotional commitment is really about being present,
Yeah.
right? It's asking, am I still leaning in? And are we still connected? Are we still together? And emotional commitment is a major thing that we find missing in many couples today, especially because of the busyness of the system that we are in, which
Agreed.
just creates superficial. Some of y'all just busy to be busy. Set yourself down. I mean, you just busy to be busy. Come on, forget the ridiculousness. Okay, take it back a few thousand. Right? You don't need to be that busy. Ain't nobody looking. I know it swells your head, makes you feel emotionally well, but ain't that many people just looking to find you that bad. My opinion. So therefore, sit back, relax, and enjoy the moments that you have with those that are significant in your life.
Mhm.
That's commitment.
I think when you look at it, are there, when you start to look at the relationship, are we still all in? Because sometimes we, we may physically be there,
Mm-hmm.
but we have pulled back. We have, put our walls up. We are in a situation where we're saying we're committed,
Mm-hmm.
but are we really here? Are we really present? Are we really all in?
Mm-hmm.
Even when it's uncomfortable, even when we have to have tough conversations. We talked about that last week. Even when sometimes there's just, things that we need answers to. Are we all in?
Mm.
That's what builds that trust. When I can tell you something, we can have a conversation, and then the next time we're talking or whatever, it don't feel weird and awkward and all of those kinds of things. And so that's really what we're looking at when we're talking about emotional commitment. Can you have those tough conversations? Can you lean in? Can you push each other? Because we all need work. I mean, if we're honest, all of us are striving to do better every day. All of us have some areas that we need to work on. Some days are better than others. And so when we push into those, commitment says, hey, I'm gonna be here. I'm gonna be emotionally present, even when sometimes what you say hurt my feelings or made me mad, or it pushed all of the buttons, because maybe you were right.
Just maybe.
I don't want to admit it.
Right.
But maybe you were right.
Right. And I think, as you said, the commitment requires you to have those conversations. I mean, a lot of times when you've been distant for a minute, the conversations are awkward, and there is silence in the conversations because you're trying to think of what to say. But you have to push through that. Trust me, I know this fully. You have to push through that and continue to make the phone call, continue to have the conversations, even if you got to write down 10 different things that you want to say before you make the phone call, so that you can have that conversation, because over time those conversations become easier, become more relaxed, because you are now reconnecting. But you got to do the dirty work first, which means I don't really know what to say, but I'm gonna just keep saying stuff and talking until you get used to hearing my voice.
You love
again.
to do that.
No, I don't. That's why I like silence. Silence is golden. But
silence can be interpreted however the other person feels it.
So
it's one of those awkward things, because silence can be interpreted, and so you can't determine how the other person interprets it.
Right. But you got to get through that awkward silence. It was like when you're on your first date and you're 30 minutes into it, and they done already brought you your food at Red Lobster, Outback Steakhouse, wherever, Pizza Hut. I ain't tripping, Taco Bell, whatever.
Where were we going to? We were going to Godfather's.
Yeah. Godfather's got some good pizza.
But back then David worked there, so we could get Godfather's for cheap.
They got some good, man. Godfather's, hey, they stuff is still fire.
Yeah.
All these years later.
Yeah.
Right? Maybe it's because I was raised on it and it brings back emotional.
No, it's the system.
But it's still good.
If you have a good system,
you keep it.
Yeah.
Right. So, but wherever it was, when those conversations got awkward and you were trying to figure out something to say in the silence, and maybe you said a silly joke or something just to break the monotony. Sometimes you have to understand, you got to put in that work. You got to put in that work, because if you have been separated for a while, I won't say there's been walls that have been built up, but in that separation, because we ain't talking don't mean I ain't thinking.
True.
And I'm thinking about what we should be talking about. Let me say it differently. I'm thinking all the reasons why we not talking, right? But guess what those are? Those are walls that are being layered upon layer, brick upon brick, built up. And you don't know if your answers that are going on inside your head are really accurate.
Yeah, because you're having a whole conversation. You're asking the questions and
supplying the answers, right?
But your answers may or may not be that person's answer.
Right.
So, when life is busy, when life is stressful, when life is loud, when all of those things are happening, we've got to keep communication open. We've got to have, that affection has to flow. One of the things we always have conversation with couples is, the least amount that you can wear at night, because remember, this is public service, so I can't really just say what we would really say, but y'all can read between the lines. But the least amount that you have in the bed, there is a piece in which it's hard to argue.
That's what I'm saying. You like, well, I wish you would. Well, never mind. There's a reason why. There's a reason why when the baby's first born, they take it immediately from
And
the
put
mom.
put it on your chest.
Right now, they might wrap it just so it can stay warm.
Right, but there's that
that
chest
skin
to
to
chest.
skin
Yeah.
contact is critical. Trust me, you never lose that. You just forget about it.
Yeah, and so that affection has to flow, and so that connection can stay alive. And so while you may or may not, depending on what your issues may or may not be, you may not necessarily be able to be active. Y'all know what I mean, but you still need to be affectionate. Okay. And so there may be, commitment isn't control, it's reassurance. When I am assured that he ain't going nowhere, he ain't messing with nobody, he ain't looking at nobody, none of those things, then I can be assured that we are good. Okay. We talk to couples all the time. I don't know when he goes out, he be looking at everybody else. I check his phone and or whatever, and all kinds of things are happening. Are you committed to this relationship?
Right. That's the number one thing. All right, scroll it back down. That's the number one thing. Are you committed? Because at the end of the day, if you're not, then I don't know if there's no fixes. You know what I'm saying? And so whenever we're dealing with couples, I mean, I'm going to ask you, are y'all all in? Are y'all committed? Because if you're unsure, then you kind of like low key wasting my time. Because everything I tell you is going to be about you being committed. All right. So if we can't get to first base, ain't no more bases.
Right.
Yeah. Let's just shut
we
the
don't
lights
need to
off.
go to 2, 3, or 4.
No, take your mid off, take your bat ball, and go home. Because if you can't get to first base, then there's no more bases that we can get to. So you got to be all in. You got to be committed, ladies and gentlemen. All right. So our love work for this week, man, this time goes fast. But I love work for this. I know. I love work for this week. Our commitment check-in, and we want you to answer together. One way I feel emotionally supported by you is, okay. One way I may have pulled back emotionally is, see how my fingers go this way.
Go emotionally. You went inside.
I went inside. Outside.
I was doing Tai Chi this morning. We were doing that. These are the things that are out there. These are the things.
Is that what all that noise was this morning?
Just do what you're doing.
I'm like, what the heck is going on up there? Anyway.
I was working out.
Okay, well, work out, girl. Work it out. Work it out. Right.
Gotta get my summer body ready.
One way I want to recommit to us in this season is, and answer those questions honestly.
How we recommit
accurately. Yeah. How are you going to reconnect? And then just don't speak it, but put it into action. And I'm telling you, for those of you that have been out of the commitment, I don't want to say out, but just on the fringes, it's going to feel awkward. It's going to seem awkward. You're going to think that I'm gonna try this one little thing, and if it don't work, I'm tapping out.
Yeah, but the thing about it is, just throwing out one thing doesn't necessarily. I go back to being a little kid, going to the river. Sometimes you would throw that rock, that you would throw that hook out there, and you might not get nothing. You bring it back in, make sure your worm was tightened up, and throw it back out there again. You may throw it out there 3 or 4 times before you finally catch something. And I think sometimes when people have been hurt or unsure of what's happening, you may have to throw it out there more than once. You may have to.
Don't get discouraged.
Yeah, and don't just throw it out there once and be like, well, you didn't do nothing, so. Well, no, because I'm not sure. And you've done this before, or maybe you've said this before.
This is your pattern.
Right. And now I need to see if this is real, if you really changed, or if this is just you, just trying to get something.
Right. No, I gotta agree with that. All right. But commitment grows when both people feel chosen and not assumed. When both people, when I choose my wife and she chooses me, right? It shouldn't just be in words. It ought to be in the actions, right? Because I kind of feel like this. I don't care who's in the room, right? Uh, when I come in the room or she comes in the room, the dynamics of how I feel should change. I'm serious about that, you know. But if we in the room and we ignoring each other, something wrong with that, right? So that means like this. This is the way I feel. I mean, I could be in a room with a bunch of people, and my wife comes in. I ought to, at the minimum, acknowledge her presence. It might just be a
Hey, girl.
or a wink or whatever. But what I'm low key saying is, in amongst all of these people, I see you.
Come on now. Yes, I see you.
Yeah. With all these people, all this clutter and all this clattering that's going around me all the time, I see you. And those things are heavy, ladies and gentlemen. We dropping bombs today, boy.
Baby.
Dropping bombs. I might need to see you later tonight. We dropping bombs up in this joint today. That's all I'm saying.
Joshua 24:15 says,
oh, yeah,
choose this day whom you will serve. Now, we take this in a scriptural way, but I want you to really think about it in your relationship. How do you serve each other? How do you spend time? Now, and when I say serve, don't get all archaic on me. I'm not talking about, you're the waitress and, unless y'all play like that, and that's up to you. You grown, do what you do. But what I'm saying is, in this relationship, in this committed relationship, how do you, just like he was saying, how do you make sure that that person knows that they are seen? How do you make sure that that person knows that they are heard, knows that they are loved, knows that, there is nobody else for me but you? Okay? Because every day we've got to choose to be in this relationship. We've got to choose to work at it. We've got to choose to continue to push it, to refresh it on our phones, in our computers. We have to go through and we have to do those refreshers. Why? Because there's new things that are coming up. There's new situations that are happening. There's new viruses that are out there. There's new attractions that are out there. And we have to go back and reboot that love for each other. That commitment for each other has to be rebooted so that that person knows there's nobody else I'm looking at.
Right.
Not at all. Okay. So we're choosing to be committed. Next week, we close out February and we're going to talk about celebration. How do we celebrate? How do we celebrate our love? Honoring the work, the growth, and the progress that we have made over these last few weeks. How do we celebrate? Because here's the thing. Often we are in so much of a grind. We're in the hustle, that we don't take the time to celebrate each other, celebrate what we love about each other, celebrate how we are committed to each other. And that's why I think sometimes we have all these weird sort of holidays, if you will, because people have said, hey, if we have a holiday, if we make it something special, if we make it commercialized, then people will stop and celebrate along the way. And what I'm telling you is you don't necessarily need commercialism. You just need intentionality to sit down and make sure that y'all celebrate each other.
Make sure you celebrate your happily ever after. Strong marriages, ladies and gentlemen. Even it feels springish. I said that yesterday. It feels very springish.
It does, but it's
still
not.
February.
Still winter.
It's still winter. But strong marriages just don't survive in February in the cold months, but they grow through it. So we don't want you just surviving. We want you thriving. I raise bees, and one of the things that they say is that your hive should not just survive the winter if you take care of it properly, if you feed it. But you have to feed this hive when there's no nectar flow. There's no clover, there's no flowers, there's no nothing. You still have to feed this hive. And if you feed it, it won't just survive the winter. It'll thrive through the winter. And when springtime comes, it's ready to just explode and grow. So how about we work on not just surviving, but thriving? so that we'll be ready for explosive growth in the next couple months, right? That's what we're going to do. That's what we're about. So until next time, ladies and gentlemen, keep building your relationship with faith, fun, and forever love.
Yeah. Doggy
Peace
style.
out.
See y'all.